What's up, Falcons Nation? It's your boy Jew coming at you with another Atlanta Falcons video. As always, Falcons Nation, rise up. In today's video, I want to give you guys 3 defensive line players to watch for in this upcoming training camp. But if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell so you'll know when I've done Atlanta Falcons content. Hit that like button for your boy. I really do appreciate each and every one of you guys continuing to share out my content. If you would like to follow your boy on Twitter, you can follow me at Jew Talk Sports. If you would like to follow me on Instagram, you also can follow me at Jew Talk Sports. And if you would like to donate to my channel, you can donate to my Cash App, which is the $ Jew Talk Sports. But with that being said, let's jump right into the video. So I want to give you guys 3 defensive line players to watch for heading into training camp. We're I believe about a week away from training camp. And the first player that we need to watch for on the defensive line that I think could have a huge year or could be one of those guys that could step up in training camp is Marlon Davidson. Marlon Davidson is defensive tackle / defensive end. We drafted him last year out of Auburn University. As you know, I am an Auburn Tigers fan in college football. But Marlon Davidson is one of those guys that we need to watch for in this upcoming training camp and this season. He could be a player that breaks out for our Atlanta Falcons. He's very good as far as with brute strength. He has great brute strength, good at using his hands. A guy at Auburn that they use inside and outside. In his senior season, they used him more as a defensive end because we had Derek Brown on the inside, and we didn't have as much talent at the defensive end position at Auburn. So Marlon Davidson played most of his last season at Auburn on the outside as a defensive end, and he did pretty well. He's not the fastest guy, but he's a really strong guy. Like I said, he has great brute strength. And I do think that he's a guy that we could see break out for our Atlanta Falcons. Last year, he dealt with COVID, and he didn't play a whole lot last year. So it was his rookie season. It was a weird year last year due to COVID, meaning they didn't have the little rookie training camp or rookie mini camps and things of that nature. They didn't have preseason games. And that's something that we are going to have this season. We are going to have a full training camp, and we're also going to have preseason games where you can get used to game speed, because it's nothing like playing in a real game. Even in practice, it's hard to simulate how fast the game is. And I do think that Marlon Davidson last year kind of was, trying to figure things out in the few snaps that he did get last year due to him battling injuries and also having COVID. But I do think that Marlon Davidson is a guy that we need to watch for. I do think that he could possibly be the starter next to Grady Jarrett on the inside if he beats out Tyler Davidson. And that's one of my bold predictions, that I think Marlon Davidson is going to outplay Tyler Davidson or beat him out in training camp. In that training camp battle, I do think that Marlon Davidson is going to beat out Tyler Davidson for that starting role on the inside next to Grady Jarrett. But he is very good at stopping the run. And a guy like Marlon Davidson, him and Derek Brown were a great tandem on the inside of that defensive line at Auburn. And I expect this year for Marlon Davidson to be unleashed in this Dean Pease offense. Marlon Davidson is a very aggressive guy, good with his hands. Like I said, very good at shedding blockers and things of that nature, especially on the inside of defenses. He's one of the stronger defensive linemen on our Atlanta Falcons team. And I really think that Marlon Davidson could have a big season next to Grady Jarrett, could be that guy that we've been looking for to be that guy that gets, take some attention away from Grady Jarrett with his skill. So that's the first player that I think we should watch for heading into training camp. The second player I think that we need to watch for heading into training camp is Michael Walker. Michael Walker is actually an outside linebacker, but because we're playing at 3-4, he will be lining up on the defensive line. I do think that Michael Walker last year, due to Pro Football Focus, they said that he graded out as the best linebacker in last year's draft. But I really think just watching his game, I'm not big on Pro Football Focus, but just watching his games last year when he did get in the game, he was very aggressive, a great tackler in man-to-man, one-on-one situations in space. They didn't use him a ton last year on the outside. As an outside linebacker, we used him mainly in 4-3 sets. He's seen a couple snaps last year where he was out on the edge, but mainly we used guys like Steven Means and Dante Fowler and those guys on the outside. And we really didn't see a whole lot of Michael Walker. But this year, I do think that Michael Walker, especially with the release of a guy like Barkevious Mingo, who was cut by the Atlanta Falcons, I could see Michael Walker possibly being the starter opposite of Dante Fowler, depending on how training camp pans out. I think that Michael Walker has the skill set to play outside linebacker and be on that defensive line and set the edge and things of that nature for our defense. Like I said, if you go look at Michael Walker's college tape and his college film at Fresno State, he was a guy that they mainly used on the defensive line, and they used him kind of like a Swiss Army knife because he was moving all over the place. But I really could see him being a guy that plays opposite Dante Fowler as a pass rusher. Michael Walker does have the skill set, does have the physicality to do that. I'm not too sure if you would want to use Michael Walker on all three downs because I'm not too sure how well he plays in the running game and how well he'll be able to share, blocks in the running game when the line is, heavy. But I do think Michael Walker is a guy that we need to watch for, especially if the Falcons don't go out and sign a veteran pass rusher. Michael Walker could win that job outside or next to opposite side, of Dante Fowler. I do think that Michael Walker could be one of those guys that competes for that outside linebacker starting role on the defensive line on the opposite of Dante Fowler. And the last player that I think we need to watch for heading into training camp, and this will be the third player, is Jacob Tuioti-Mariner. He's a guy last year that had a really good season for Atlanta Falcons. He was one of the younger players on our defensive line last year, and he proved last year with playing time that he's a guy that took advantage of the playing time he got due to injuries to Tat McKinley and some of the injuries that we had on our defensive line with Marlon Davidson. Jacob Tuioti-Mariner was mainly a special teams player, but last year when he got in games, he really showed us that some bright spots. He played really well in that game against the Las Vegas Raiders where he had a strip sack fumble and a fumble recovery. He was the NFC's Defensive Player of the Week in that game against the Raiders. He had a big game, strip sack fumble. He played great on special teams all season long. And he's one of those guys that's long, rangy, also good with his hands, has active hands, and is able to possibly be another guy that can play opposite side of Dante Fowler. So it's going to be a really an interesting battle between Jacob Tuioti-Mariner, Michael Walker, John Kaminsky. It's going to be a huge matchup between all of those guys who's competing for that starting defensive end / outside linebacker role. And I do think that Jacob Tuioti-Mariner has the skills. Like I said, last year, he showed when he got his chances, he did a good job of setting the edge in the run game, did a good job of coming downhill, a good job using his hands against offensive linemen, offensive tackles. And he's a guy that plays with a very high motor. And that's one thing that I love about his game is he's not a guy that's going to give up on plays. He's a guy that's going to give you all he has. And I really think that he could possibly be a player that could start opposite Dante Fowler as well if we don't bring in a veteran guy like Justin Houston or Melvin Ingram. If we don't bring in one of those veteran guys that are out there on the defensive line, I could easily see us using Michael Walker or Jacob Tuioti-Mariner as the starter opposite of Dante Fowler. But with that being said, you guys let me know what you think of the video of the players that we need to watch for. I'm going to have a lot more of these videos coming, spotlighting each position group. But those were the three guys on the defensive line that I'm really looking at to see who's going to step up this year. Marlon Davidson, Jacob Tuioti-Mariner, and Michael Walker. Those are the three guys that's on my radar for the defensive line. But with that being said, if you guys enjoy my content, please hit that subscribe button. Your boy is on the road to 2,000 subscribers. If you would like to donate, like I said, you can donate to my Cash App. And stay tuned because I'm going to have a lot more videos coming for you guys. But as always, Falcons Nation, rise up. Peace.